Within the wide-ranging field of medical history, certain cases stand out, challenging our understanding of biology, chemistry, and the interaction of substances within the human body. One such peculiar case is that of Gloria Ramirez, known posthumously as the Toxic Lady. Her story, which unfolded in a Riverside, California hospital in 1994, remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in the annals of medical science. The case saw an ordinary emergency room admission escalate into a scenario filled with collapsing medical personnel and a swift, tragic death. This narrative, which navigates the intricate interplay of science, speculation, and the human capacity to confront the unknown, continues to engage and baffle us almost 3 decades later. On the evening of February 19, 1994, the humdrum of Riverside General Hospital was disrupted by an emergency. Gloria Ramirez, a resident of Riverside, California, was brought in by paramedics. Ramirez, already fighting a desperate battle against late-stage cervical cancer, was in an alarming state. She appeared disoriented, her breath coming in irregular gasps, and her heart hammering in her chest, signaling severe distress. The emergency department, a crucible of constant action and unrelenting stress, kicked into overdrive. The medical staff, well-versed in dealing with life-or-death situations, reacted quickly to Ramirez's deteriorating condition. Initial assessments revealed not just her critical medical condition, but also an array of bewildering symptoms that puzzled the attending physicians and nurses. A closer examination revealed Ramirez's body was coated with an unidentifiable oily sheen, adding an additional layer of complexity to an already challenging case. More puzzling was the strange fruity and garlicky odor that seemed to originate from her mouth. These unusual physical observations were incongruous with her known medical history, deepening the mystery surrounding her case. The perplexing situation took an even more worrying turn when registered nurse Susan Kane began the process of drawing blood from Ramirez's arm. As she punctured the skin and blood flowed into the syringe, a strong, alien chemical smell permeated the immediate vicinity. This scent, different from the standard hospital smells of antiseptics or medication, sent a wave of alarm through the room. It was as if the very essence of Ramirez's condition had transmuted into an odorous, tangible signal of distress. This escalation of unusual observations was just the beginning of an extraordinary medical mystery that would continue to unfold throughout the evening and eventually reverberate throughout the world. The incident served as a stark reminder of the unexpected complexities that can emerge in the field of medicine, as well as the resilience and dedication of the healthcare professionals who face them. The story of Gloria Ramirez's fateful evening was far from over. Indeed, it was merely the opening chapter of a tale that would challenge conventional medical understanding and leave a lasting impression on medical history. In the immediate aftermath of Gloria Ramirez's arrival at Riverside General Hospital, a concerning development emerged that exacerbated the already tense and challenging situation. Nurse Susan Kane, who had been at the forefront of Ramirez's care, suddenly collapsed. She was not alone. In a scene eerily reminiscent of a contagion outbreak, other medical personnel who had been in close proximity or contact with Ramirez's blood started exhibiting distressing symptoms. Reports of fainting, respiratory difficulties, and muscle spasms quickly proliferated, transforming the emergency room into a hotbed of medical concern. With the well-being of hospital staff swiftly deteriorating, an evacuation order was issued. It was a swift, calculated move aimed at halting the burgeoning crisis. Yet despite the rising panic and fear, a skeletal crew of brave medical professionals stayed behind in the emergency room. Their objective was clear: to stabilize Ramirez in this sea of uncertainty and escalating crisis. But their endeavors, while heroic, were ultimately futile. Approximately 35 minutes after her arrival, Ramirez's battle with late-stage cervical cancer ended. She succumbed to kidney failure, a common complication in advanced cancer cases. The emergency room, once abuzz with frantic activity, fell silent. But Ramirez's death was not the end of the night's ordeal. Several more hospital staff fell ill in the hours that followed. Symptoms varied widely, adding yet another layer of complexity to the unfolding enigma. As word of the unusual case spread, it caught the attention of experts far beyond Riverside. Teams of investigators and scientists from the Riverside Coroner's Office and the esteemed Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory started sifting through the available data. In the relentless pursuit of truth, the team at Lawrence Livermore worked tirelessly, examining every facet of this complicated and bizarre case. Despite the daunting task at hand, the investigators remained undeterred, committed to shedding light on this deeply puzzling medical mystery. Their tireless efforts highlighting the unyielding determination of the scientific community to uncover truth, no matter how elusive or unconventional it may be. In the wake of Gloria Ramirez's death, 2 distinct autopsies were conducted in an attempt to unravel the mystery surrounding her case. The first took place 6 days after her demise and was spearheaded by the Riverside Coroner's Office. However, it was far from a routine procedure. The need for safety and precaution in the face of potential hazards necessitated extraordinary measures. The medical personnel involved in the autopsy were garbed in full hazmat suits, a sight more common in a high-risk biochemical laboratory than a hospital mortuary. This intense level of protection underscored the severity of the perceived threat. The hazmat suits, designed to provide comprehensive protection against hazardous materials, were a clear indication of the potential risks believed to be associated with Ramirez's body. The daunting prospect of an unknown toxic substance, coupled with the baffling symptoms experienced by the hospital staff, justified this heightened sense of caution. Their findings aligned with her known medical history. Ramirez had succumbed to kidney failure, a consequence of her advanced cervical cancer. However, this straightforward conclusion did little to elucidate the inexplicable events that unfolded in the hospital. 2 months later, a second autopsy was conducted by the Forensic Science Center at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Renowned for its work in physical, life, and earth sciences, the institution brought a wealth of experience to the investigation. Despite the significant time lapse since Ramirez's death, the team launched a thorough examination, undeterred by the challenges at hand. Their findings echoed those of the Riverside Coroner's Office. Kidney failure due to cervical cancer was the cause of death. However, they went a step further in their investigation, seeking to explain the illnesses experienced by the hospital staff. Drawing upon their expertise in chemical and biological analysis, the Livermore scientists proposed the infamous DMSO theory. This hypothesis suggested that Ramirez may have been using the solvent dimethyl sulfoxide, or DMSO, a powerful degreaser sometimes used as a home remedy for pain. Investigators postulated that a urinary blockage resulting from Ramirez's kidney failure might have led to an accumulation of DMSO in her body. When the paramedics administered oxygen, it could have interacted with this DMSO to create dimethyl sulfone. The theory further suggests that the electrical shocks from the emergency defibrillation Ramirez received at the hospital could have then converted the dimethyl sulfone into dimethyl sulfate, a highly toxic compound, potentially explaining the emission of harmful fumes when her blood was drawn. The 2 autopsies thus served to offer not only a consensus on Ramirez's cause of death, but also a possible explanation for the medical staff's mysterious symptoms. However, the DMSO theory, while widely publicized, didn't convince everyone, leading to further debates and speculation about this peculiar case. The official explanation offered by the investigators, while compelling, failed to garner unanimous support. A cacophony of voices began to rise against the DMSO theory, calling its credibility into question. Critics of the theory argued that the conversion of DMSO into dimethyl sulfate would necessitate specific conditions that they believed were unlikely to exist within Ramirez's body or the hospital environment. They claimed that the probability of such a transformation occurring spontaneously seemed implausible at best. As dissent grew, a slew of alternative explanations emerged. One of the most prominent among these was the mass hysteria hypothesis. This theory suggested that the extraordinarily stressful circumstances of that fateful evening could have triggered a psychogenic illness, leading to the widespread onset of symptoms among the hospital staff. However, this idea was met with significant opposition. Detractors argued that the concept of mass hysteria failed to account for the wide array of physical symptoms reported by the hospital staff. Another line of reasoning postulated the presence of methamphetamine in Ramirez's system, suggesting that this could have contributed to the bizarre incident. However, this theory, like those before it, was unable to provide a comprehensive explanation for the specific symptoms manifested by the medical personnel. Thus, it too fell short in the quest for a definitive answer. Meanwhile, the Ramirez family found themselves embroiled in the midst of this controversy. Disillusioned and skeptical of the official narratives, they posted their own theory, alleging potential negligence or error on the hospital's part. They believed that the hospital was attempting to deflect blame and conceal its shortcomings through these speculative theories. Yet, despite their fervent assertions of a string of subsequent investigations, no concrete evidence to substantiate these claims has emerged. Thus, the mystery surrounding Gloria Ramirez's tragic end remains, with each theory carrying its own weight of controversies and contradictions. The quest for the ultimate truth continues, underscoring the complex, multi-layered nature of this extraordinary case. While the definitive answer remains elusive, the investigation into Gloria Ramirez's case continues to provoke thought and debate within the medical and scientific community. Nearly 3 decades after the incident, the case of Gloria Ramirez continues to perplex medical and scientific communities. It serves as a stark reminder of the boundaries of our understanding of human biology and chemistry, as well as the complexities involved in emergency medical scenarios. While it might be tempting to seek a clear-cut explanation for incidents like the Toxic Lady case, the reality is often complex and multi-layered. As we continue to learn and expand our knowledge, cases like Gloria Ramirez's keep us grounded, reminding us of the vast unknown still waiting to be discovered. In the end, the story of Gloria Ramirez transcends her tragic death, leaving behind a legacy that continues to spur scientific curiosity and inquiry, ultimately propelling us towards a better understanding of the complexities of life and death, disease and health, and science and mystery.